Hey everybody, my name is John and welcome back to my channel. I decided to make a series of vanilla JavaScript projects, trying to be as beginner friendly as possible. And I think I'm going to start with a quiz game, and we're going to just be using HTML, CSS, tree style, and just like I said, vanilla JavaScript for the functionality. We're not going to be doing any fancy frameworks like React, Vue, or Angular. It's just going to be very friendly, beginner, and I hope you like it. Right? So let's start it. So first things first, I want to go in, go anywhere in your computer. I'm gonna over here on my desktop create a new folder, and it's gonna be vanilla JS. That's good, just vanilla JS. And I'm gonna open that with my VS Code. Let me just put it over here. Make it like this. Alright. Okay, so inside here I'm gonna create a new folder and I'm gonna call it, let's say, first project is gonna be a quiz. Inside the folder I want to have 3 files, which is going to be index.html. It doesn't have to be index, it can be any name you want, it's just convention to use index. Okay, same goes for the CSS file. I'm going to call it style.css, but it doesn't have to be style. And also I'm going to have my JavaScript file. I'm gonna call it script.js. And once again, it doesn't have to use these names, it's just conventions. That pretty much that's what you're gonna see out there. Some people like to call this app.js. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go with script. Alright, so let's start with the HTML. Let me see, let's start with this one. Okay, I have my, okay, oh good. We need the boilerplate for the HTML. For that, if you have VS Code, you can just type the exclamation point and hit enter, and it's gonna give you the boilerplate for that. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger over here. Let me call it, what am I gonna call it? Quiz game. Yeah, quiz game, that's fine. And since I'm already here, I'm just gonna link my CSS file. And you see, it already says it's style.css because this is convention. So if you name this style.css, you don't even have to change it over here. I think the same happens with the JavaScript. Like over here, I can say script source. And then I just, it didn't autocomplete for me, that's fine. So we just give a script.js, which is our file, and it's in the same level of this directory, so we just need the name of this file. Okay, so I think everything is linked. Let's start with the HTML. Over here, I'm gonna have a div with the class of container, and everything is going to be inside that container class over here. I'm going to have another div. I'm going to have a class of screen and a class of active, and also I'm going to give it an ID so we can grab that specific element when we're doing the functionality with JavaScript. We're gonna be grabbing it by the ID. It's gonna be start screen. This is the screen that we are going to start with. I have this active class over here because we're gonna have to alternate between screens, and then we need this ID over here for every single screen that we want alternate with. All right, I think we're gonna have two or three screens, maybe three. We're gonna have the start screen, and then questions screen, and then the results screen. Let's give an H1 over here, and we can say welcome to the quiz, something like that. Let's make this capital. Welcome to the quiz game. Okay, nice. Let's put a paragraph. Let's test your knowledge. That's good for now. And I think we're gonna need a button. Let's see, my co-pilot's already suggesting the auto complete over here, and I'm just gonna hit tab and then it completes for me. That's the power of AI. By the way, I use this extension over here. It's called GitHub Copilot. This one over here. That's the extension I use. It's you see there's 37 million downloads, and it's a paid extension. I think it's $10 for it. It's worth it. If you code all day, it makes your life so much easier. So I suggest you getting some sort of AI autocomplete extension, or yeah, go with the GitHub Copilot because it's a pretty good one in my opinion. Also, I have this live server over here. If you don't have it, you can install this one, live server. 63 million downloads. This is a very good extension, because if you cannot run your HTML file just like copying the path of it. Where is it? Copy the path, and then you can let me see here. Let me get my browser and then paste it over here. You see that we get this. We get our file. Then we just shrink a little bit. Make this over here. Let's put this one over here, and then here, this one over here, just like that, so you can see it. But the thing is, let's say we change something here. Let's say we add an H2, and you see it's not updating. Would have to reload the page to see the updates. Let's delete this. We reload the page and then it goes away. That's not very optimal. That's why I have this extension go live. You go over here, you click on this. You see, open a new tab. This is the old one. This is the new one. Let me close this one. And then this is the live server one. You see, it's running on localhost port 5500. And if I come over here, let's say I add an H2. And see, I didn't even need to refresh my page. It did automatic for me because it's always checking for modifications in your file. So if I have autosave on, so whenever you change something in your file, it's gonna see that you saved, and then it's gonna update it for you right away. And you don't need to refresh the page all the time to see the changes. So let's delete this, and it goes away. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on with this. Where we start, we have the quiz button, and I think we're good for now over here. I'm gonna have another div. Let's give it a class of screen, because that's it's gonna be our second screen. And also let's give it an ID. That's gonna be our quiz screen. That's where we're gonna see all the questions. Okay, come over here. Let's see, AI is trying to autocomplete stuff for me. It's pretty useful, but sometimes it's annoying. But anyways, let's give it an A2. And for now, we're gonna be having the questions dynamically from the JavaScript. So for now, I'm gonna just put a placeholder. Let's say question goes here. And then in the H2 we need to grab it, so let's give it an ID. It's gonna be question text. All right. Here I think we can do another div with the class of quiz info. That's where we're gonna put how many questions we did and how many questions you got it right or wrong or something like that. Excuse me. So let's do a paragraph over here. Let's say question, oops, typo. Question one of, let's say I think we're gonna have 5 questions, 1 of 5. But for this number 1 over here, I want to have a span, and that span is gonna have an ID of current question, and it's gonna be 1 for now. I mean, always gonna be 1, I guess. And then this 5 over here needs to be a span. Let's give it an ID of total questions, and there's gonna be 5. I think that's good for now. Let's put another paragraph over here, and score, it's gonna be, we start with 0 obviously, but we're gonna need a span over here, and let's give it an ID of score. Let's put the 0 over here, and then we delete it from here. Okay, cool. Let me see over here. We got, this is the second screen. So right below this div, let's put in another div, and that's gonna be our answer container. Let's give it an ID of answers container. Okay, and also we're gonna need a class. We're gonna use class to style and the IDs to grab the element using get element by ID, which is a JavaScript function. For the class, I'm just gonna give the same name, so just copy and paste it over here. Let me see, in here, you know, the answers are, we're gonna be putting we're gonna be populating this container with JavaScript, so I'm just gonna put like a comment over here and say answers will be populated. Populated here is good. No. Using JavaScript. If I can type. All right. Let me see what we can do now. So this div over here. We go below this div. Let's create another div. Actually, let me give a class with this one. So below the answers, below the answer container, we want to have a progress bar. So let's get rid of this progress bar. Okay, let me autocomplete. And inside the progress bar, I want to have another div that it's actually gonna be the progress. I hope that makes sense. Like, we have the container progress, and then the progress that it's gonna pretty much be the color that's gonna be filling this progress bar. I hope you understand this. So here, let me just give it an ID because we're gonna have to grab that too and a class. That's gonna be progress, same thing. Okay. Let me see what we have to do now. We got the start screen, we got the quiz screen, we got the progress bar. I think we're missing the result screen now. Let's try to work on that. So let's put in a div over here. Let's give it an ID of result screen, okay, and also a class so we can style that. It's gonna have a class of screen just like this one over here and this one over here. This is our 3 different screens that we're gonna have. They are gonna have the same class, just style, but what they're gonna have, it's this active class that we're gonna be inserting dynamically with our JavaScript. So pretty much what we're gonna do, we're gonna be removing from here when we don't want the screen anymore, and then we put it over here, and then we're done with this screen. We remove it from the quiz, and then we will add it over here, which is the result screen. But we're gonna, by default, it's gonna be over here because we're starting with this screen. Okay, I guess that's all. Let me see what we have to do now. Let's put in let's do H1 over here. Let's say quiz results. All right. Right below that, we're gonna have another div with some information. So let's just give it a class of result info, and inside that div we're gonna have a paragraph that says you scored 0 out of 5 because we're gonna have 5 questions, but same thing as we did over here. We're gonna need I'm gonna come over here and put a span. Inside that span is gonna be 0, and then let's give an ID. What's an ID of final score? Out of 5. So let's delete this and put a span over here. Let's get an ID of max score. For that, we're gonna start with 5, but we're gonna be changing that. And I want to add a message depending on the result. And for that, let me just put another div over here, and let's give it an ID of result message, and that's gonna be coming from our JavaScript dynamically. So let's say you got 5 out of 5. It's gonna be something like, oh, you're a genius. Let's say you got 4 out of 5. So, oh, good work. Let's say you got 1 out of 5. You could say something like, try again, you can do better. Anyways, just like a message depending on how many you got it right out of the questions. You get it. And for now, let's say like, good job. And I guess we're done over here. Let me see, got the result. We got the result info, and I think we're just gonna need a button. I guess we're just gonna need a button below this result info so we can restart the quiz. Obviously we're gonna need an ID to grab that with our JavaScript. Okay, and we can just say restart quiz. Okay, and I guess that's everything. We got this div with the result screen. We got our H1. We got our div with the paragraph. We got our div here with the, it says with the message. We got our button. I think everything is good. I would hope so. We'll see. We'll fix it if we have any mistakes down the road. We don't need this tab anymore. So let's try to style this for now, and you'll see what is this active class is gonna do. So let's start over here, and so always when I start styling my projects, I like to excuse me, do some resets. For that, we're gonna like put this asterisk. That means every element. Where you go? My AI already knows that. This is like what I do in every project. I just do margin of 0, padding of 0, and a box sizing of border box. So this box sizing of border box over here, what it does is that it's going to reset, this 2 margin padding is going to reset the default margin and padding of the HTML elements, because as you can see, there's margins and paddings on the elements, and we don't want that. So we set the margin to 0, we set the padding to 0, and you see it already shrink, because by default HTML elements comes with margin and padding. And the box sizing border box, it's a good practice to do this, because let's say you set a div to have 200 pixels wide, so you set like the width should be 100 pixel, right? So what happens is you're expecting this div to have 100 pixel wide, and then you're going to start styling the other elements expecting that this div have 100 pixels wide, right? But let's say down the road you go and you add padding, let's say 10 pixels, 10 pixels, that's good. So you added padding of 10 pixels, but you didn't have the border box prop on it. So what's gonna happen is that div that you set 100 pixels, it's gonna have a padding now of 20 pixels on the left, and 10 pixels on the left and 10 pixels on the right. So that div actually it's gonna have 120 pixels now, which you're not expecting. So that's why you do the box sizing of border box, because that way you are gonna have 100 pixels, because that padding or margin, it's gonna be added to the 100 pixels. It's not gonna go over 100 pixels. So whatever is left over, it's gonna be 80 pixels, because you're gonna have 10 on one side, 10 on the other, and you're gonna have 80 left. So that's gonna be the content of your div, and it's not gonna change the structure. So that's why I like the box sizing border box, and I do this in pretty much every project. You're gonna want to do this 99% of the time. It's gonna make your life so much easier. Okay, so let's continue, and let's start it. So first, for the body, I wanna, let's give it a background color. Let's say I want this like a slight white, like an off-white color. It's gonna be EF, EFDA, EF, EFDA. It's like a yellowish, white, something like that. Just so it's not like bright white and hurt your eyes. Let's do a display of flex. Let's justify content to the center. Okay, let's align our items to the center too, and let's give it a min height of 100% of the viewport. Okay, so everything is in the middle now, and let's give it a font family. This one. No. Let's give it a font family. Poppings. Popping sans serif. Yeah, that's a good one. And I think that's good for the body for now. And let's style our container class, which is this one over here. No, this should be wrapped. Let's see, there was a mistake over here. This div should be wrapped inside our container class. See, we already did something wrong over here. That's why it was kind of broken. Anyways, let's grab our container class, put it over here, and let's style it. I'll give it a background color. Let's say all white. Okay, cool. I'll give it a border radius. Let's say 1 rem. I think 1 rem is 14 pixels. I'm not sure. I think 1 rem is 14 pixels. Let's give it a box shadow, so there's like a slight shadow. I'll do 0, 10 pixels, 30 pixels, and RGBA it's gonna be all black, so 0, 0, 0, and the alpha just 0.1. So you have a slight, but you can increase this if you want, but it doesn't look that good. I just wanted like a slight shadow below it. Let's do it a width. Width can be 100%. 100% of width, and I will give it a max width too. Let's say 600 pixels. If there's any overflow, that will be hidden. And let's give it a position of relative. And I think that will be it for our container. We should start working on our screens now. So our screens. So the screen, it's gonna be display none. Man, I don't think I can type today. Let's give it a, let's see, I don't think I can type today. Let's give it a padding 2 rems, and text align, let's put everything on the center. So now we cannot see anything because we put this display none, but if we put it block, you can see everything, what's happening. So let's go back and put it none, so it's not on the screen. And now is where this active class come in place. So if we say a screen that has the active class will be display of block. So here we can see this one because this is the only one that have the active class. Like I said, we're gonna be using JavaScript to remove this when we don't want this screen anymore, and then we add it over here when we want the the questions container to show on the screen when you're done with this, and we want to see the results, so we remove it from here and we will put it over here, and then you'll see the results. All right, but for starting, this one will be active because this is the start screen, so we need to have this active by default. Okay, so let's keep moving on. Let me see what we're gonna do now. Let's start styling this one since we're already here. It's gonna be the start screen. For that, oh, I think we have it's not a class, I think we have an ID. Yes, we have an ID of start screen. So to grab that, instead of using a dot for class, we're gonna use a hash and get the start screen. And for the start screen, I'm gonna just give it a, I think let's edit the H1 that we have here. Let's give it a color. It's kind of, let's see. No good. Let's give it a color of kind of orange, something like that. It's gonna be E55812. Okay. We give it a color. Let's also give it a margin bottom, let's say 30 pixels. Just to move that a little bit. And let's give it a font size, maybe 2.5 REM. Always use REM for font size. I don't know. I'm used to that. So it's a little bit bigger. Alright. So we have that P tag over here. Let's make this P tag look a little better. Since we'll see, my copilot's already suggesting, I'm just gonna say accept tab. So if I just hit tab, it accepts whatever it was giving me the suggestion. I'll just change this for 30 pixels. I think that'll be better. And this color is good. And I guess let's give it a 2.5 too. No, too much. 1.8. Yeah, that's better. And now we have that. What do we have now? We have the start button, which is this one over here. It's not gonna do anything right now, but that's okay. What are we gonna do? No, I think we should work on the quiz info, maybe. Alright. So let's grab this one over here, question text, and it's an ID. It's an ID for this H2, so we use a hashtag. We grab that, and let's style this a little bit. Let's give it a font size, let's say 1.5 rem. A color, it's like a greenish color. Let's give it 0E4749, kind of green. Yep. Now we have to do this quiz info over here. Let me just copy it. It's a class, so we use a dot. And for this quiz info, let's give it a display of flex. We cannot see it right now because this is we don't have the active class, but you're just gonna see in a second. Display of flex for the info. Let's justify content to I think it's space between. Let me see something. I think I can just come over here. Let's remove the active from here and put it over here. So we are working on this part over here, right? So space between, you put this one over here and put this core over here on the side. If we did a center, it would be everything in the center like this, but let's just keep the space between, so we have one on each side. All right, let's give it also a color, just like maybe a gray color or something like that. Let's say 00, 26, 26. So slight gray, like a dark gray or something. Oh, that's kind of, I don't know, gray, greenish. I don't know. I just want like a dark color. And also let's give it a margin bottom. Bring this down a little bit. Margin bottom, let's say 20 pixel. No, all right, that's good for now. Maybe this one we should put a margin bottom over here too, just to make it look a little bit better. Yeah, maybe 2. I mean 2 rem. Yeah, that's better. Let's give it a line height too. Let's say 1.5. No, we got the info. We don't have the answers over here, because that, like I said, that's gonna be populated. So let's just give it some let's style that class over here, but we're only gonna be able to see that when I populate this with buttons. So we are gonna use JavaScript to inject buttons inside of this container. Okay. So for that, it's a display. It's a class. Sense container. It's a class. So for that, let's say it's a display of flex. Let's give it a flex direction of column, because we want it to stack on top of each other. We want like in column, we don't want like inline. So give it a flex direction of column, and yeah, a gap would be good too. So let's just accept AI. I guess that's good for now. And the actual buttons that it's gonna come over here, we don't have that class yet, but we're gonna have it when we inject, because that class is gonna be added dynamically, but we're gonna have it. So let's say answer button. Let's give it a background color. Let's say EFE 78, kind of white. All right, I guess let's actually color of the text. Let's just put it all black. Oh, one more 0. This is the short for X. You can do this is just 3 digits, or you also can do like the full. It's the same thing. Every hex color have like the 3-digit short. Let's give it like a no border. That's good. Let's padding 1. All right, EM. That'll be fine. Let's make it rounded a little bit. Just let's say 0.5 rem for border radius, and make the cursor of pointer so it looks like a little hand when you go on it, over it. Font size can be 1.2 rem. That's fine. Just a little bit bigger. I think the default it's 1 rem, which if I'm not mistaken stands for 14 pixels. And we can do transition, so it's kind of smooth. That's like for all elements. You can add transition, let's say just for the background color or whatever, but I'm just gonna do all 0.3 ease. You can change this ease in out. There's all this easy out, easy in out, easy in. Let's just go with easy for now. And I think that's good for the buttons. We'll check more later if we need to change something. Now let's just copy this because I want to do some hover states on the button. Let's say when you hover over it, I want that background color to be let's just say light darker than this thing over here that we did. Let's see, hash A77 A7 no, let's do A0, a little lighter, yeah. And just the border color, let's just say 0002626. One extra 0 over here. No. Now, when we click on a button and it's the correct answer, we want it to turn green. But if we click on the wrong one, and also we want the wrong one to be kind of red. So that's what we're gonna try to do now. So let's copy this again. We don't need an extra dot over here. That's what I did last time. So let's say that's the correct one. Okay. So what do we do if this button have the correct class? We give it a background color. It's kind of green, so like a lime green. Let's say 4CAF50. Okay. The text color, it's gonna actually be all white, so you can just do FFF. And the border color, we can do I need a border color? No, let's just do all black, see how it goes. And now let's just copy, just copy this whole thing over here, paste, but this time if it's incorrect, if this button have the incorrect class, we're gonna change this to, well, let's just say red. What is it? FF000. FF000. Okay, we can type red too, but I'm just gonna use the hex codes for the colors, just for, you know, everything has hex code. You can use RGBA, HSL, it doesn't matter. The color is still gonna be white, and border color, I guess black is fine. I don't know. We gotta wait to see how it's gonna look like when we actually have the buttons. Now we should be working on, let's see. We have this progress bar now. Here we need this is a class progress bar, and we have a class of progress. So progress bar, and we have a class of progress. So let's just start with this one over here. The progress bar, it's gonna have a background, kind of, let's say, whitish, and then this is like the div that's gonna hold the color, not the actual color that's gonna be filling up that div, if that makes sense. So let's leave it like a white color like this. If you hover over here, you can see the code and where you can drag and do whatever you want here, and pick another color if you want. And give it a height. Let's just 10 pixels should be fine. Border radius, let's say 5 pixels, just slight rounded. I mean, if you give a height of 10 pixels and a border radius of 5, so that's 50% border radius, so it's going to be rounded 50%, so half of it. Let's give it the overflow hidden, if there's any overflow, and a margin top of 1 rem. That's the progress bar. I guess this is good for now. And let's do the actual progress now. Let's give it a background color. I want it to feel like kind of green. 0E4749. This like a dark green or something. I don't know what it's called. Let's give it a height of 100%, which it's gonna be just same 10 pixels over here. We're gonna inherit this and just like make it 100% of the 10 pixels. So it's gonna, this is the color, and the actual color that's gonna be filling this container. So you want the whole height of the container to be filled with this color. Yeah, if that makes sense. Width, let's say 0% for now, because we're going to be increasing this with JavaScript, and at the beginning it's going to be 0. And let's just add some transition on the width. 0.3 easy is fine. And that should be it. We got a progress bar and the progress bar class and the progress. Is this everything? I would think so. And now what do we have here? Is the result screen? My AI is already suggesting. Yeah, we have the result screen. So for the result screen, what do we have? We have an ID of result screen. Let me just copy this, grab it, and let me just change this. Where is it? Let me just change this active and just put it over here. There's something wrong with this. This should not be here. This progress bar. I think this progress bar should be inside that container, right? So let's put it over here. Anyways, we'll figure it out. Let's leave it here for now. Got the result screen because it's active now, so we can take a look at it while we're styling it. So let's just start with the ID of result screen. What are we gonna do for it? Actually, let's grab the H1 we have here. Let's give it a color 002626. Like the same green color. Let's say a margin bottom would be good. Just 30 pixels. That should be good. Nice. Let's say font size 2.5 rem. Yeah, that's better. And I think we have a class of info. It's actually result info. Let's copy it, grab it over here, and let's give it a background color for hash. Let's see, F3, F2, F1. Just a light gray. We have to change this progress bar. Let's say a border radius for that of 10 pixel. Yeah, it looks better already. Some padding would be nice of 20 pixels, so it's not all together. And the margin bottom, I think so, 30 pixels too. Oops, 30 pixels. And then we have this one over here, which let's see. Let's grab this p tag inside of result info. So we can just copy this result info, copy, grab the p tag, and then we can style it. Let's just give it a color. All threes should be good. Get a little bit darker. Font size 1.5. That's 1.2. Yeah, that's better. And now we have this result message over here, which we gave it an ID. So we use a hashtag, grab this, and then we can style that. Let's see what we're gonna do. Let's font size, it's too small. Let's increase it to 1.5. That's better. But let's change the font weight. Not normal, let's do 600. Okay, that looks better. And let's give it a color. That should be fine. Okay, not bad. Now we have this button over here, I think. Is it restart button? I guess we can just grab this button over here because we have another one in the beginning, so we'll just start everything the same. So let's just grab button, and it's gonna be valid for all our buttons. I want to give it a background color, and it's gonna be 054444. No, actually, let's do 052626. Okay, that should be fine. A color of white, so all F's. Okay, a border, no border actually, for the button. Okay, let's give it a border radius 10 pixel. Okay, padding. So from, let me see, top bottom 15 pixel, left right 30 pixel. That's better. Let's see, font size 1.2. Yeah, let's accept it. Okay. Also, you see the cursor, it's this arrow. We want to make like a little hand, so for that we get the cursor of pointer, we just accept it, and then see when you hover over it, it changes the cursor. And let's do a transition 2. Let's just accept it. The transition is gonna happen, actually let me comment this for now, and do a button hover state. So when we hover over it, I wanna change the background color, and now I guess we can do a darker one. No, actually let's do a lighter one. Maybe the one that we tried before, 4444. I guess that's a lighter color. And let's also give a border color of let's say this value over here. You see that it changes when I hover over it, but immediately changes like as soon as I hover over it. So that's why this transition comes into play when we do this. You see now it's slightly changes. It's not like just like a little subtle. It looks like more clean. I don't know. I like it. And I think with that we should be fine with everything. Let's remove this active from here. This is the start screen. We have, this is our start screen, and then we have the question screen, and then we have the result screen, and we have this progress bar that it's on the way. We'll see how we're gonna do this progress bar. Why is this on the way? So we have this progress bar. If we remove it, so it's not there anymore, it shouldn't be here because this is inside. Oh, quiz, because this div and this div should not be visible. It should be inside this div. I think now it's gonna be fine. So let's see. This is the start one. Oops, active. But also let's remove this from this over here so we can see it. So that's the first screen we're gonna have. See now that we don't have the progress bar. That was a mistake, just a little typo. And then this is the quiz screen. If we put active, we can actually see the quiz in the progress bar now. And then when we're done with this, we can come over here and we see the results. Right, so that's all good. And this one's gonna be active by default. Okay, I guess we're done with the HTML and CSS. And by the way, let me just shrink the sidebar because we don't need it. And now we're gonna start with the script. I already put my script on my HTML file, and I think we're good to go. So let me just, actually, we're good. What do we have to do first thing first? We have to grab all the IDs. All the IDs we have over here. We need to grab all the elements by the IDs. So for that, we're gonna be using the get element by ID function provided by JavaScript, which is document object model. If you don't understand the document object model, it's pretty simple. You can Google and you'll see how it works. Basically, you can manipulate everything that's in a document over here on your page. So for that, let's grab all the elements. Let's say const, we have a start screen. It's going to be equals document that get element by ID with the start screen, which is this one, start dash screen. Okay. What's the next one? We have to get the quiz screen. It's going to be quiz dash screen, which is this one over here, this ID. We need to grab the result screen too, our last screen. It's going to be result screen, which is where is it? This one, this ID over here. We need a start button, this one over here, so we can give it a functionality, because now when we click it, nothing happens. So let's say start button, and grab it with the ID of start button. We should be this one over here. Okay, we need the question text. Let's say const question text. Where is this ID over here? Where is the questions gonna go? We're gonna have to change this this text over here. And now we have we need to grab the container. What do we was answer container? What was it called? Answers container. So answers container. Okay. I need to grab the current question span, which is well, we didn't add it yet, so we cannot see it, but we're gonna add it later. It's gonna be a current question. We need the total questions. Total question span. It's gonna be the total questions. We need the score. Const score span. I think it's just a score. We need the final score. Is it final score span? It's a final score. I got the score, ID of score. Total questions. Okay. Let's keep moving forward. A final score. Everything's gonna make sense in just a few minutes. We need the max score. Max score span. It's gonna be the max score ID. We need the result message. It's gonna have an ID of result message. We need the restart button. Have an ID of restart button. Is that right? Restart button. And we need the progress bar. Progress bar. We have an ID of progress. I think it's just progress. And just this one. Okay. Now I wanna just create an array of objects. So let's say quiz questions array of objects. So it's gonna be const quiz questions. It's gonna be equal an array. Okay. Now my AI is already giving me a lot of suggestions over here, but we're not gonna do it like that. I have a better idea, so we're gonna do 5 questions. Three, 4, 5. That's good. So for the first one, we're gonna have question. Which country has the highest life expectancy, but that should be like this because it's a string. And now we have the answers, which it's going to be another array of objects. And we're just going to accept that, and let's say one is to be true, so Japan is true. Alright, we're just gonna, I don't know if this is true, but we're just gonna go with this one. So if you pick Japan, it should be the right one. All the other ones are false. And now let's try another one. Let's just do this. What's the capital of France? Alright, so which planet is known as the red planet? True, false, false, false. So Mars would be the right answer. Paris would be the right answer for this one. We have 3. What's the largest mammal in the world? So a whale would be the true answer. The correct one, and the other ones all false. And I have over here which element has the chemical symbol of O, and true one would be oxygen. That would be the correct answer, and I think we're good with this. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So now that we have all the questions and answers, we can start building it. So where we're gonna start now, we need to declare some variables, like my AI it's letting me know. So let's get the current question index is gonna be 0, score is gonna be 0, of course, because we're just starting. And let's say answers disable, it's gonna be false, because when we click to the answer, you don't want to let you want to disable all of them when you're clicking one, so the user doesn't click again, and if they click again, that's going to count towards the score, and we don't want to do that. So that's a pretty important line to have. You'll see what that means. So I guess we're ready to start our functions. But for now, let's say total question span. Let's say text content. It's gonna be our array quiz questions dot length. So basically, this is setting the total question span to which we grabbed over here. Where was it? By the current question ID. Where is it? Current question ID. We're grabbing this, and we're gonna set it the total question of it by the length of our array, because that's the maximum amount of questions that we can have. And then the max score, let's say the text content of this will be the same. It's going to be the size of our array. Okay. Now we have this button over here. We need to add an event listener to it so it works, because right now it's not doing anything. So let's put a comment over here, event listeners, and it's already suggesting me we're gonna add an event listener to that start button over here that we grabbed using the ID. Okay, I'm just gonna accept it, and it's gonna listen to a click. There is so many more events that you can list to, like on mouse over, on mouse out, or like on key press. You can take a look at this later if you want, but for now we want to listen to the click. So when you click on the button, we're gonna listen to that. Okay, And then when we click it, we're gonna run this function over here that's gonna start the quiz. Okay, so same thing I want to do for the other button that we have on the end. That's gonna restart. So we're gonna listen to the click, and when we listen to it, we are going to run this function called restart quiz that we are gonna be creating in a few minutes. Okay, so let me see. I guess we're ready to start creating our functions. So let's say function start quiz, and first thing, when we start, we want to reset all the variables that we have. So current index, it's going to be 0. The score is going to be 0 because we're just starting. Let's say we finish the quiz, and then this variable over here has another score, so we want to clear that out before we start a new one. And I guess that's it. Is that everything we need to reset? Oh, the score is span 2. We need to change the text content to be 0. Okay. Now what we want to do, we want to remove the active class from the start screen. So I'm going to accept this and change this. Instead of add, I'm going to do remove, and the class that we want to remove is the active, and then we want to add this active class to the quiz screen, just like how I was doing manually to see the different screens that we have. So I'm just going to accept this, and as soon as we have the new screen on, we can start loading the questions. So let's just put a comment over here, load questions, which we're gonna call this function that we're gonna create. So let's see, how is it going? Oh, let me just comment this for now. So if we click this, we got this other screen, right? So let's create this load question function, load question. Oops, it's not brackets, it's curly brace. So for that, we're gonna have to reset this state again, because you don't want to have the previous questions over here. You want to have like if we don't reset this state, we're gonna still have this question and then load this one. So you're gonna have like 8 buttons in your screen. You don't want that, because when you're done with this, you want to display only this one. So we're gonna have to reset that. Let's put a reset state again. That should be reset. Okay. Oh, goddamn, cannot type. Reset again. Okay. And let's do the answer. It's gonna be disabled. Let's grab the current question. And the current question, it's gonna be our quiz question array with the index of the current one that are on it, right? So current question span, we gotta change the text content of that. So this thing, we gotta change this one over here. It's gonna be equal to the current question index plus 1, because as you know, the array starts as 0, but we want to grab the first one. So let's do that. And let me see what else we have to do. We have to do the percentage, I guess. Const progress percentage, it's gonna be equals current question index is gonna be divided by the length of our array times 100. That's how we get the percentage. But this whole thing over here should be executed first, so we put in parentheses. So it's gonna run this first and then multiply by 100, so we get the percentage. Okay. And the progress bar should have a style and a width to it. It's gonna be the progress percentage that we just created. I hope that makes sense. Let me see. And the question text, we gotta change the content too. So we get the current question dot question. So I'm just gonna accept that for now. I guess. So we already get the first one, as you can see. Now we have to, okay, let's clear the previous answers. So we'll clear the whole container. Okay, I'm just gonna accept this, and let's say we have to populate the buttons over here, like I told you. So we're gonna be using all this information that we have over here. I guess we can do a loop and loop through all of them and create buttons, add classes to these buttons, and then we can see which one is the correct one because we have it over here. So let's say create answer buttons. It's gonna be current question dot answers, and for each let's say answer, we wanna execute this block of code over here, right? So let's say const button is gonna be equal create element, and we're gonna create an element of I didn't mean to accept this. Sometimes it's annoying. And we're gonna create an element of the type of button, which is the same thing as this. We create a button element using JavaScript, same thing. Okay, now our button dot text content, it's gonna be answer dot text, which is this text over here. So each button is gonna have this text. Okay. So button dot class list dot add, and we're gonna add the class of answer button. Is that the class we gave it over here? Yeah, we got the answer button and the hover, and the one that is correct and the one that is incorrect. So we add that class to our element. Now we need to verify which one is the right one. For that, we're gonna use dataset, which is a property in HTML that you can use for that. So let's say button dataset, and if it's correct, we do answer dot correct, right? Because this is what we have here. And then after that, we gonna have to add an event listener to know which button we're clicking. And then I'm just gonna run this function, which is gonna be the select button that you just clicked. And now we created all the buttons, but we didn't add it to the UI. So for that, we can use we can grab the container and append child, and then we append this button over here that we just created. Okay, and let's see how that's gonna go. Well, we need to create this select answer now. We need to create that function. So yeah, let's create that function. Let me copy over here. Function select answer, and then we can create. For that, we're gonna have to grab the event. Let's just put an E over here for short. And if we if the answers are disabled, we just want to return out of this function. We don't want to do anything if the answers are disabled, because we don't want to add this to the score. So it's just gonna, this return over here means that this, if this exists, if that's true, this returns out of this function and doesn't do anything else. And now that we did that, we want to get the answers that are disabled and put it true. So const, let's grab the button that we just clicked. For that, we use this event over here, and we target the button that we clicked. That's how we know which one it was. And now we can verify like if this is correct. We have the selected button and the data set that we did up there, and the correct, it's going to be equals to true, as you can see over here. Okay, so it's already working. We can see we have the question and we have the buttons over here. All right, so let's keep moving on. So now we have we need to know which one is the right and which one was the correct one, and add like see if it's correct, we're gonna add this class, and if it's incorrect, we're gonna add this class. So for that, we need to get the container, all the children containers, all the children's in that container, transform it in an array, so we can use the for each method, because the for each method only works on the array. So for that, you go array.from, and inside here we pass our answer container dot children. And as you can see, my code editor, it's already giving me AI is already giving me the for each method, and for each button inside that container we want to run this function, right? That's correct. Okay, so let's say if button, if the button data set is correct, equals true, right? We want, what do we want to do? We want add the class, right? Correct. That's what we want to do if it's true. But if it's not, we want to add the incorrect. So button selected button, we come over here and we grab that button, add a class list, add a class list, and that's gonna be incorrect. That's how we define it over here. Incorrect. Make sure you don't have any typos or our code is not gonna work. Okay, I guess this is for now. Let me see. So if we pass the correct and incorrect, we want to update the score. So if this is correct, the expression means if this is true, we just update the score. Okay, and we also update the UI with the score that we just updated. So let's see. So what's the highest life expectancy? Which country? So Japan would be true. So if we select Japan, you see that it's green and we score 1. So let's keep moving forward. Let's see. Let's put a set timeout to grab the next question. So it doesn't change right away. Let's put a set timeout in that. So the set timeout function takes a callback function, okay, and then the time in milliseconds. So we're gonna run this code inside of this callback function every 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. So for that, we get the current question index and just increment that. And let's say if current question index it's less than the quiz question dot length, which is the size of our array, so that means we have more questions. So we load questions, which is this function over here, right? Else we just want to show the results. Show results function that we haven't created yet. I guess we can just create this show results. Pretty simple. So function show result and not brackets, curly brace, show result. It's gonna be, all you have to do, it's remove the class from that container now, because if we're done, we don't want to show this anymore. We want to show the results container. So we get the quiz screen and remove the active class out of it, and then we get the result screen and add the active class to it. And the final score span needs to be updated with the score that we just updated, because we updated the variable but not the UI, so this text content updates the UI. And we need to get the percentage. So let's say percentage, and that's gonna be equals to score that we scored divided by the quiz questions dot length, which is the size of our array, and times 100 to get the percentage in time in like 100. But like before, this needs to run first, so we put in parentheses. And now so apparently it's working. So what's the capital of France? Let's see, it's Paris, right? Well, I knew that, but I wanted to show you that it's true over here. So if we hit Paris, it should be green, right? And we score 2, and we're question 3 out of 5, because 5 is the size of our array. So which planet is known as the red planet? So would be Mars, but let's say Earth. It gives me a red background, and the right answer lights a green background. And as you can see, the next question comes up in 1000 milliseconds. If we change this, let's say for 3 seconds, the next question after we click, it's gonna come after 3 seconds, just like it happened right now. So click here, 1, 2, 3, you should get a new question. Okay, but let's keep this for every 1000, so it's like every 1 second. And what we need to do now is using this percentage, we will give them a feedback, like let's say when we hit the screen, we hard coded good job over here, but we want to change this this text over here dynamically depending on the percentage of your score. So for that, it's pretty simple. We just need to nest a bunch of if. So if the percentage will be 100, let's just get this. Let's just accept 80, 50, and I think that's good. So if it's 100, we get this. If it's greater than or equal 80, we get this. Greater than or equal 50, we get this message. Or else if it's not any of these, we get this one. So yeah, pretty simple. Let's see if it's working. So let's say USA, it's the wrong one. Berlin is the wrong one. So let's get this one right. So we have 1. Let's get this one wrong, and let's get this one right. So we only scored 2 out of 5, and we get better luck next time. Let's restart. Oh, we didn't do the restart yet. Well, let's just do the restart function real quick. Restart quiz. All we have to do over here is get the result screen, and get the class list, and then remove the active because we don't want to see that screen anymore. And then we just run the start quiz again. Oops, start quiz function after this. So start. Let's get this one. Get Rome, Mars here, and then get this one right. We got good effort, and then if we click restart, we restart the whole thing again, and everything is working fine. Right? Yep. All right. I guess this is everything for today. And all right. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.